Welcome to the Gym and Tonic Podcast. I'm your host, Shanae Kunsa from SK Bodyworks, and this is a space where self-development meets holistic health. This podcast will help you create transformation from the inside out, blending all things mindset, healing, habits, energetics, spirituality, health, fitness, and nutrition. And through these episodes, I'm going to help you activate your highest self and create a life that feels as good as it looks, mixed in with some laughs, a few F-bombs, and a whole lot of truths that your soul has been craving to help you evolve, expand, and align with your highest potential. So let's dive in and step into your next evolution. Hello and welcome back to the Gym and Tonic Podcast. I am so excited you are here. Today's episode is a solo one, and we are diving deep into something that impacts literally every single area of your life, which is your self-talk and your thoughts. And I'm going to, in this episode, essentially break down the science behind this and explain to you in simple terms how your self-talk is literally shaping, and your thoughts is literally shaping your entire reality. And if you're listening to this right now and you're like, yeah, like my self-talk is good, like I don't need to listen to this or I don't need to change it, I want you to pause for a moment and I want you to think to yourself and ask yourself right now, am I living the life that I want to live right now? Am I feeling good in all areas of my life? Am I achieving the things that I've set out to do? And I want you to just ponder on those questions for a moment. And if the answer is no, then you absolutely need to listen to this podcast episode today because you are going to get so much out of it. And honestly, I used to think the exact same when I heard people talking about like self-talk and thoughts and, positive thoughts and blah, blah, blah. I was always like, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't need to listen to that, or I don't need to read that, or I don't need to learn about that. Like, money's good. But boy, was I wrong. Even if like right now you're thinking this as well, like I can tell you that 96% of our self-talk and our thoughts are unconscious and automatic, meaning we don't even realize that we do it. We don't even realize how we are speaking to ourselves on a day-to-day basis, like 96% of the time. So in simple words, it is happening behind your conscious awareness. And your self-talk and your thoughts are above everything else, the very thing that dictates your reality. So again, in simple terms, to let this really sink in, your thoughts and how you speak to yourself has the power to literally influence your reality. So make sure that you tune into today's episode because there is going to be so much value in it. And this episode was also actually inspired from a recent post that I shared on social media, about like how your thoughts literally create your reality, exactly what we're going to be talking about today, because the feedback I had on that post was so powerful. So I knew that I had to bring it to the podcast and expand on it here for you. And before we dive into today's episode, I am going to share a little bit of a business update as well, because there has been a lot happening behind the scenes, like so much happening in my world right now. There's a lot of changes, a lot of shifts. So I thought that I should bring you guys up to speed. And if you follow me on socials, you might already know this. But recently I closed a chapter that was nearly a decade in the making. So it was 9.5 years in the fitness industry. And as of, the week before last, I think it was, so mid-August roughly, I've stepped away from personal training and the gym, which is kind of sad, but also so exciting at the same time. And even though I'm stepping away from personal training, fitness will always be a part of my holistic approach. And I guess something that I actively embody myself. So moving forward, I'm not working with one-on-one fitness clients, and not in, I guess, a face-to-face personal training capacity anymore. In saying that, I am still running my weight loss formula program, which is a 12-week group coaching program. And also, obviously, the SK Bodyworks app will still remain the same as well, with fitness programs and everything on there as well. But while this, I guess, chapter of personal training closes, my overall mission and my why, of course, still continues, and just in a whole new way. And I guess it's not actually new, because it's kind of been what I've been doing for the last 6+ months anyways, but it's just stepping further into that. So this next evolution of my work is really going, I guess, beyond the physical. So beyond physical health, like fitness, and diving deeper into mindset and self-development, as this is truly where my energy has been drawn to the last 6 months or so. And being able to witness my life and mindset coaching clients, like their incredible and life-changing transformations, has absolutely started like a fire and endless amounts of passion in like all things mindset and self-development. And I really feel that my intuition has been guiding me to close the door on personal training, to fully step further into mindset and self-development space. So yeah, here we are. So I'm really excited. And there's something else which I'm very excited about too. I'm excited to announce soon. But there's going to be also a whole new layer around, I guess, how I'm going to be supporting my clients and community with mindset and self-development on an even deeper level than I already do now. To give you context, which I haven't actually announced, but it does involve, I guess you could say, like another up level or study or another modality. Let's say that, another modality. So the doors aren't closing, they are opening wider than ever, and I feel more excited than ever as well. So I'm so excited for this next evolution of my business. So stay tuned, because at some point in the coming months, I will make this announcement. But for now, it's happening kind of behind the scenes. And while we're talking about, I guess, my one-on-one life and mindset coaching, I do have an update around this as well. And like this offer has been, like I said, this has literally started a fire in me, like being able to witness my clients' transformations. Like this offer has been invaluable and like deeply transformative for every single woman who's stepped into it. And I shouldn't say, I do have 2 male clients as well. So every single person or soul that stepped into it. But as I've grown, like personally and professionally, like so has this work. So I thought it was about time to take it to the next level, to make it even more powerful, more long-term and results driven than ever before. So this next evolution of, I guess, this offer is really for the soul who is ready for deep transformation over 3 months or 6 months together. And even though like clients that have worked with me for like 3, even literally 3 sessions have gotten huge shifts and life-changing results, the clients who have worked with me for a longer period of time are the ones who get the most deeply transformative and life-changing results. Because, you know, healing is not a quick fix. Like you don't heal once and just never again. It's like you don't do it and then just never go back to it. I mean, some people do, but this is why I'm making these changes, is because this work is ongoing. It's long-term, and is also why, obviously, like I just said, I'm reflecting this in my new offer to evolve it so that it can be over 3 months and 6 months, so that you essentially stay plugged in for longer. Because when you commit to this work, like the ripple effect touches every part of your life. So I'm super excited, super excited to announce that Mindset Method is here. Mindset Method is one-on-one coaching for deep life and mindset shifts. And it is my sacred one-on-one coaching container, which is essentially designed for the woman who is ready to do the deep inner work and to create permanent transformation from the inside out. And together we will ultimately rewire your subconscious mind, break through limiting beliefs, and create a mindset that supports the life that you've always envisioned, not sabotage, supports. So this is for the person who is done with just getting by and is ultimately so ready to step into presence, peace, and true happiness. It's also for the person who knows that there is more for her, and like she's courageous enough to claim it, even if it does feel uncomfortable, because healing can be uncomfortable. But what's on the other side of that discomfort is huge growth and transformation. And mindset method is essentially where healing meets becoming. So if this feels aligned for you, or you're on the fence about working with me, or you've previously been on the fence about working with me, or even if you just wanted to, I guess, explore more about coaching and how it could actually support you, DM me on socials at skbodyworks, and let's schedule in a free initial consult coaching call so that we can chat further. And this is a completely obligation-free call. So if you are even like a little bit interested of like, what is coaching? How could it help me? Send me a DM and let's chat. And one more update before we dive in. Last Monday, what are we today? The 25th. So last Monday, I started my first small group mentoring session as part of my journey towards my ICF accreditation. And ICF stands for the International Coaching Federation. So over these 8 weeks, every Monday night, tonight will actually be the second mentoring group, but every Monday night for these 8 weeks, I'll be diving deep into mentoring and growth to ultimately prepare to become an accredited coach with the International Coaching Federation. And this is a step that not many, and definitely not all coaches do, because not all coaches are registered with the ICF. Like, it's not like it's a requirement or have to, but it does actually involve a lot of work. Like, you need to meet like coaching core competencies, you need to get like a certain amount of coaching hours, and I guess the application process is quite like vigorous and strict. So I know that it's going to stretch me outside of my comfort zone in the best way possible. But I'm not going to lie, I am feeling a little bit nervous, in all honesty. But I'm so excited for, I guess, the growth that I'll experience as a coach from this process. So yeah, there has been a lot happening behind the scenes the last few months. So I felt like the podcast is such a good place to, I guess, update you all. So that's enough updates though. Let's dive into the juice for today's episode. So we are unpacking today how your thoughts create your beliefs, and your beliefs create your identity, and your identity creates your reality. So essentially how your thoughts, beliefs, identity, and reality are all connected, and why what you tell yourself is the most important conversation that you will ever have. Like, ever. And I want to ask you this for a moment. Like, actually ponder on this for a second. Like, have you ever caught yourself saying things to yourself like, I'm not consistent, I always mess things up, I'm not good enough, I'm not confident, I'll never have enough money, I'm an anxious person, why are things so hard for me, insert narrative. Or maybe you've even noticed in general that your inner voice like tears you down way more often than it lifts you up. And the truth is, like, I'm so sure, like, if that is you and you're like, yes to all of those, you're not alone. And today's episode is going to help you transform that so you can ultimately rewire your brain and literally change your life. Because the truth is, your self-talk is not just words. Like, it's literally shaping your reality. Because your thoughts become your beliefs, which become your identity, which become your reality. And like, this is literally like the chain reaction that's happening inside your mind, often without you like even realizing it. So, and a belief literally becomes a belief from a thought that is thought over and over and over and over again. So a belief was just once a thought, and it became a belief because you thought it again and again and again and again. And it created neural networks in your brain, which we're going to go into in a second. And if you've been carrying negative or limiting thoughts for a long time, like, it's no wonder that, you know, maybe certain areas of your life feel heavy or stuck or out of alignment. Because just like the saying goes, like you are what you eat. Obviously me having worked in the nutrition space for quite some time, I always loved that analogy, like you are what you eat. It's also the same that you are what you tell yourself. Like literally, you are what you tell yourself. And we're going to break this down with a little bit of science in a way that makes sense and that is simple and easy for you to understand. So a couple of things. First, we're going to start with a term called neuroplasticity, which neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to literally rewire itself based on what you repeatedly think, feel, or do. Like our brains and our subconscious mind are smart fucking machines. And every thought you think literally fires a network of neurons. And the more you think it, the stronger that neural pathway becomes. It's like the saying that goes like neurons that fire together, wire together. You might have heard that before, but that's basically what that means. And so when you repeatedly think, let's just use an example of I'm not good enough, you are literally strengthening that pattern in your brain, making it your automatic default. So that when something happens, that is literally like the automatic program that runs, like behind your conscious awareness. And, just like we can create a limiting thought pattern, which then becomes obviously a belief, aka a neural pathway, we can also unlearn this belief and rewire a new, more empowering belief. That is neuroplasticity. It is such a smart, our brains are so smart. We have the ability to rewire it so that we can prime it to move towards our desired reality and literally create our desired reality. Like we can literally dream into existence through repetition. So, like I said, the beliefs maybe that you currently carry that maybe don't support your goals, they became a belief because you thought them again and again and again and again. So it became a belief. So through repetition, you can also do the opposite of that. Like I said, unlearn this belief and rewire a new, more empowering belief by repetition. Our brain and subconscious mind loves repetition. So the more times you do it, the stronger that neural pathway becomes. And through repetition, the more times you do it, eventually that'll become the automatic program. And it is possible. This is literally what I help my clients do. And the shifts it creates, like when we rewire our brain, we change our entire life. Like quite literally. Like, yeah, this work, if you can't tell, I'm so passionate about. So that's neuroplasticity, a little bit of science behind it. Next, I'm going to talk about what's called a RAS system, a reticular activating system. You've maybe, or probably, if you're not new on the podcast, you've probably heard me talking about this before. If you're new here, maybe this is the first time. But basically, this is your brain's filtration system. It's your brain's filter, and it is a bundle of nerves at the base of your brainstem, and it basically highlights information that matches what you already believe. So if you believe I'm not confident, your RAS will literally filter your world to show you an example, to show you examples that prove you right, that prove that belief to be right. Like you can literally like I said, like it highlights your the information that you already believe. Like you can literally imagine like your reticular activating system as a highlight. It's like it goes through highlights all the important things because it believes that is important to you. So that's what it filters into your awareness. And it's not that you're, if you did have that belief of like, I'm not confident and you believe that, like I said, your RAS system is going to show you proof and evidence that this belief that you have is right. So it's not that you aren't doing things well or that you're not confident. It's just that your brain is ignoring those wins and the times that you do feel confident, whether it's in a decision, in an outfit, in this or that, whatever it might be, because it doesn't think that matters to you. Because like I always say, where your attention goes, your energy flows. What you focus on expands. And if we're focusing on like, I'm not confident or beliefs that aren't serving us, it's going to expand those. Our brain is literally going to find us evidence that supports that belief. Right? So in hindsight, no, not in hindsight, that's not the word I'm looking for. Overall, like this filtration system in our brain essentially shows us more of what our brain deems important to us. That's what it does. And like I said, where your attention goes, your energy flows. So what you focus on expands. So if you're focusing on things that don't support you, your RAS system is going to find you more evidence that supports that. Whereas when you shift that and use it to your advantage, because you can use it to your advantage, you will literally find evidence of the opposite, which supports you. And I always use this example, but it's just such a good example of this in action. It's like when you go to buy a new car, right? And I think I've literally given this example on a podcast before, but I'm going to give it again. So it's like when you go to buy a new car, or maybe it's a used car, it doesn't matter, new or used car, go to buy a car, and you normally, like, you're probably having in mind, like the size, well, yeah, the size of whether it's a sedan, a ute, whatever, the type, the color, the type, like the model, the make, all of the things, right? You've got in mind exactly what you want, right? And then what your brain does. So you start focusing on that. It's like, I want this car, I want this car. Then what your brain does, your filtration system, I can't fucking talk today. Your brain literally finds you, like filters that into your awareness, because what you're focusing on, where your attention goes, your energy flows. So you're focusing on that car. So then all of a sudden you start seeing that car all over the road, and you're like, holy shit, never noticed this many, this many of this type cars before. But it's like, no, they were always there before. You just didn't realize it because your brain didn't filter into your awareness because it didn't deem that was important to you. But when you started focusing on it, it found you evidence of that. So it is literally the same with your thoughts and your beliefs. So be mindful what you're telling yourself. And yeah, so your thoughts shape your perception, and your perception reinforces your thoughts. I'm going to say that again. Your thoughts shape your perception, and your perception reinforces your thoughts. Cool. So that's Reticular Activating System. That's another piece of science behind it. And the third thing I'm going to go into before I give you like a step-by-step example and a practical takeaway that you can take away to literally reframe your self-talk and your thoughts. But before I do, the third concept is subconscious programming. So 96% of our daily life, including our thoughts, self-talk, actions, habits, behaviors, all the things run on autopilot. So 96% of our day runs on autopilot. 96%. That means we are only conscious for 4% of our day. So, this also means that if you've been telling yourself the same disempowering story for years, that story is now running the show in your subconscious mind. Like, literally. It's a program that your life runs off. And that script literally becomes your reality. And to change your reality, you have to consciously rewire your subconscious beliefs, one intentional thought, action, and thought pattern interrupt at a time. And yes, if you're a one-on-one client of mine, you know that we do a process that helps you actually overcome limiting beliefs, which is so powerful. It's actually a matrix therapies technique. But yeah, your thoughts are not just thoughts. Like, they become neural pathways, subconscious programs, and literally the lens at which you see life and the world through. And the more you repeat a thought, the more it becomes a belief, the more it shapes your identity and creates your reality. So your thoughts, self-talk, the narratives, the negative stories, the things that you tell yourself matter and are so much more powerful than you think. I don't know if you just heard that crack, but my shoulder just cracked. I feel like sometimes I talk with my hands. But yes, so that's a little bit of science behind how our self-talk and thoughts literally create our reality. And like until like years ago when I didn't know the science behind this, I was always the one that was like, I would see a post on social media about like self-talk and I'd be like, nah, fuck that. I don't need that. But it's like, no. All of the work that I've done over the last few years has allowed me to shift my self-talk, which has allowed me to shift my entire reality. And it's literally the work that I do with my clients, and it is life-changing. It's because it's like you think that you need to, like often a lot of the time clients think that they maybe need to lose the weight, or they need to be more consistent at their exercise routine, or they need to be more consistent with their nutrition, or eat more nutritious foods to feel more confident. And it's like usually these are even women that are at a healthy weight and they don't actually need to lose weight. It's like they put all of these things outside of them, external to them. But what really is shaping it is the belief, the mindset. Like that controls everything. When we can rewire that, we can literally transform from the inside out. And I'm going to give you like a step-by-step example of how it works. And I'm going to use the thought or the example of like, I'm not consistent. So I'm going to give you a rundown of this before I give you an example. And if you find it helpful, like to come back and even to listen to this episode again, to let it sink in even more. Because it's like when you watch a movie, it's like the first time you watch it, it's like, yeah. And you watch it again, you're like, oh, I don't remember that happening last time. Like I'm so positive that you would take away something else from it as well. And I don't even know why I use that example, because I hate watching movies twice. Jake, my partner's always like, oh, let's watch like Top Gun. He loves that the Maverick movie, like the Top Gun movie. He's like, let's watch again. I'm like, we've already seen it. We know what's happened. It's like, no. Anyways, so here's how it works step by step. So 1, you have a thought, and then through repetition, it produces an emotion. And then that emotion produces a belief, which then produces an identity, which then produces our reality and how we experience our life. So to give you an example of this emotion, so let's just say we have a thought consistently that it's like, I'm not consistent, or I can't be consistent, or I'm not good at being consistent, right? So that's the thought. So you think this every time you say fall off track, every time you can't stick to something, you can't do the diet, you miss the gym session. So you think that thought every time something like that happens, that gives you proof that you're not consistent, right? And then it produces an emotion. So you feel defeated or disappointed, or maybe you even shame yourself. And then that creates a belief. So it becomes truth in your mind that I can't stick to anything. I am not a consistent person. I don't have consistency. Like that literally becomes your truth. Like it becomes a belief that you believe to be true, even though it may not necessarily be, but you believe it to be true. That then creates an identity. So you now identify as someone who lacks discipline and can't be consistent. Like you identify as someone who cannot do that, right? That then becomes our reality. So you stop trying, you give up early, you avoid setting goals, you don't even give yourself the chance to be consistent. And that becomes your lived reality and your experience, right? And it's not that belief was ever true. It's that your brain believed it was. So it's a program that your life ran off. That is the power of subconscious programming. And when you reprogram your subconscious mind, your whole reality and life shifts. And that is literally the work that I do with my clients. And the good news is that if you can if you can wire yourself, I should say, into a negative loop, you can also rewire yourself into a positive, more empowering one as well. Again, neuroplasticity, our brain's ability to literally rewire itself. So I hope that example gave you a tangible understanding of like how this works step by step, how our thoughts become our reality, create our reality. Thoughts and self-talk, I should say. Same. The stories, the narratives, the things that we tell ourselves, right? Even the things that we say in conversation with others. And so Here's how you can start shifting this today. I'm going to give you a 5-step method. This is something that I work through with my clients. This isn't my exact reframe progress that I give my clients, but it is going to be a really powerful place for you to start reframing your self-talk and your thoughts to more empowering ones so you get more empowering results in your life, right? So step 1 is awareness. You can't change something that you're not aware of. And like I said, 96% of our day happens unconsciously behind our conscious awareness. So we need to bring awareness to how are we speaking to ourselves? What are the things we're telling ourselves? So notice your default self-talk. When something happens, it's like, what do you find yourself saying to yourself? And just write it down without judgment, because this awareness can create huge shifts when you do something with it. So awareness is the first step. Step 2 is pattern interrupt. So when you catch yourself saying, let's use that example, I'm not consistent, reframe it into something that's more positive and empowering, because that's going to, through repetition, I'm just skipping on to the next step. Hold that thought. So reframe it. So maybe it's going from I'm not consistent, or I can never be consistent, I'm never good at anything. It could be reframing it to I am becoming more consistent every single day, or I'm learning to become consistent, or I'm learning to follow through on what matters to me, what's important to me. Something that's more empowering, that's more positive, right? And like I said, this isn't my exact reframe process that I give my clients. There is more steps in that, but this is going to be a very powerful place for you to start. Step 3 is repetition. I almost skipped ahead there, but repetition. Our subconscious mind and brain loves repetition, repetition, repetition. So consistency is key. And the more that you repeat the new thought, the stronger the new neural pathway becomes. I literally love using this example of like if right now, imagine in your mind's eye, there's like 2 bush tracks. You've got one to the left, which is a very well carved out bush track, right? It's like, you can walk through there, no worries. Like there's, a path, or the bushes are off to the side because it's walked down every single day, right? So many, like you've walked down 100 times, a million times, right? So that's to your left. And then to your right, you've got another bush track. But this one is not so worn in, like it's not really walked down. So it's got like trees overhanging, like, branches in the way. There's, weeds overgrowing it. So it's like you can get through, but you got to kind of like just push your way through, right? So what this repetition does, this example that I'm giving you of the 2 bush tracks, like this is what's happening in your subconscious mind, in your brain when this happens. So the left one, the carved out path, is literally the neural pathway that you have thought over and over and over and over again. So let's use that belief, I'm not consistent. That bush track has been walked, aka it's the neural pathway. It's been walked a million times before. It's like, we can just walk straight down here. There's no obstructions. We can get straight through. It's easy, done. Then the other one that's off to the right is not really carved out. It's the new thought. It's the reframing. It's like, I am learning to be consistent and follow through with what's important to me. That neural pathway is new. The track is new. You need to carve it out so you can get through with greater ease. And through repetition, the more times you walk down that bush track, aka the more times that you reframe that self-talk and walk down that new bush track, the more carved out that path is going to become. And then the old one is going to, cave in. It's going to, like, the weeds are going to grow, and it's not going to be easy to get through anymore, right? So that is literally an example, like a visual example of how how neural pathways, like neuroplasticity, how brain rewires itself. And through repetition is only how you can create that new bush track. That's the more empowering positive self-talk, to create that as the new belief, which then becomes automatic. It becomes a program that it's just, easy, done. I walk down this path all the time, right? So that's step 3, repetition. Step 4 is collect evidence. When you find evidence that supports the new belief, the new thought, it amplifies it. It gives you proof and evidence. And the more times you do that, the easier that it gets. It's just like imagining if, I'm trying to think of an exact example here, but it's like imagining if, I don't know, a friend told you something about another friend and you're like, yeah, it's like, people talk, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, then they actually gave you hard proof evidence. You're going to be much more likely to believe that because it's like, here's the evidence. It's not just so-and-so did this or so-and-so said this, right? And I hate using that example because I hate like drama. I'm so not about that. But that's the thing that comes to my mind. So it's like when you collect evidence and like literally like keep a proof list or like a wins list, like where you note down every single time you did follow through, every time you showed up or proved yourself wrong. Like obviously that's in relation to the belief of I'm not consistent. If it's in a relation to a belief of, let's say I'm not confident, it's like, or I'm not enough. It's like every time you do something that proves that wrong, maybe you made a decision and you felt really confident in that small decision. That is proof. Put it on your proof list. Collect that evidence. Every time you maybe you said something at work to a colleague and maybe you previously wouldn't feel confident saying that and you said it with a lot more ease. Put that on your evidence list, on your proof list. If you find yourself looking in the mirror and maybe you're like, oh, I feel good today. Put that on your evidence list. The more evidence you can collect, the more that your brain is going to literally believe it, right? And prove itself wrong. It's going to support our brain's ability to rewire itself. So collect the evidence, keep a list, right? And step 5, final step, is anchor it into your identity. Anchor it in identity. So instead of I am not a confident person, shift it into I am someone who is building confidence, because identity work changes everything. And like identity work is like I am statements. Who do you identify as? I'm going to give you an example of this. I personally used to identify as someone who is not a reader. I would literally say, I am not a reader. I can't read. I suck at reading, etc., right? That was the narrative. That was the story. And for as long as I tell myself that was going to be my reality, because we know thought over and over again. I'm not going to go through the process, but you know the process. It becomes your reality. So that was my lived experience. I couldn't read. Like it literally took me over a year and I didn't even finish a book. And like that was a few years ago now, and I can read now, but I've had to work on that belief of I can't read, I'm not a reader, and give myself evidence that I can read. And through repetition, I rewired that belief and identity and my reality. So anchor it into your identity. Instead of telling yourself, I'm not someone who is consistent, tell yourself, I am someone who's learning to be consistent and follow through on what is fucking important to me, right? So a journal prompt that you could even sit with just to help start like moving that needle forward to create like some, awareness is like, what's one disempowering or limitive or negative story that I have been telling myself on repeat? What's something negative that I have been telling myself on repeat, a disempowering story, and how can I reframe it into something more empowering? Sit with that journal prompt. It would be great. And I'll even, I might chuck that in the show notes below. So you've got it in the show notes, but something to just sit with to start building that awareness. So to give you just a quick recap on how you can shift it, the steps. So step 1 is awareness. Step 2 is pattern interrupt. Step 3 is repetition. Step 4, collect evidence. And step 5, anchor it into identity. It into our identity. Anchor it in our identity. Yeah, sorry. Brain fart moment there. And I even want to share with you a glimpse into what's possible when you start shifting your self-talk. One of my clients who came to me, she was unable to accept compliments. She would speak to herself not very kindly. She wasn't she literally couldn't give herself a compliment. She couldn't accept compliments from others. And she didn't speak to herself very kindly. And her identity was literally wrapped up in the belief of I am not confident, or the identity of I'm not confident. I don't like who I am. I look disgusting. I am self-conscious. That was literally what her identity was wrapped up into, her beliefs. And we know beliefs became a belief because it was thought over and over and over and over and over again. And that story has been running the show for most of her life. We even went back to when these beliefs were created, when we cleared these limiting beliefs with a process that I worked through with my one-on-one clients. And it came from when she was at school. Like, I'm not going to go too much into it because that's not what this podcast episode is about, but it came from when she was at school. Someone said something to her and it made her feel not confident. It made her feel self-conscious, and that she created that belief that I look disgusting because of what someone else thought about her. And that created obviously an emotion at that time, which was a very strong imprint, which then became a subconscious program. And she believed that from since she was a little girl at school. That program was running her life and sabotaging and like taking away her energy, her health, her happiness, her joy. And she was, like I said, literally wrapped up in, I'm not a confident person. I don't like who I am. I look disgusting. I am self-conscious. And fast forward through our work together, she now compliments herself every single day. She can accept compliments from others and actually believe them. And she can actually now show up as her true, authentic self in ways she never thought possible before. Like, she didn't even think this transformation was available to her. But by shifting the thoughts, the beliefs, the identity, she created a completely new reality. So I'm wanting to give you this evidence, step 4 of the process, evidence that it is possible. And even to give you another example, another beautiful client that I'm currently working with, she originally came to me as a very anxious person. And she had a constant loop of self-talk of, I am an anxious person. She identified as someone who has anxiety, who is anxious. And of course, that repetitive inner dialogue kept her nervous system stuck in, fight or flight, which then made the anxiety feel like a part of her identity. And through our work together and unraveling her self-talk, clearing limiting beliefs, clearing past traumas and negative emotions, and gently rewiring her subconscious patterns, she has completely shifted. She no longer identifies as an anxious person. Instead, she now recognizes that those anxious thoughts were simply conditioned stories, not her truth. And today, she lives without that constant anxiety. She feels grounded in her body. She feels that she's able to approach challenges with more ease, feeling calm and confident. Every time previously, what used to feel overwhelming, she would go in a spiral. But now she can meet this with peace and presence. And she literally sent me a message over the weekend. I'm actually going to get it up. Right now. So bear with me for a second. Because I was literally going to put this on my, I've got it in my drafts for stories to put up on Instagram. But she literally 2 months ago, she sent in her intake form, she had, the question was, if life could be exactly the way you want it to be, where would you be in 2 years' time? She wrote on her form, anxiety, and I'm reading this word for word, anxiety fucking free. Live life for the moment and actually be in that moment. Not pretend and count down till I can chill. I am there for everyone, but sometimes I fall behind because of that. She had rippling anxiety. She was overthinking every decision. She was sacrificing her own well-being for everyone else around her and showing up every day with a fake smile. And she was hurting on the inside. It was killing her. And now, just over 2 months later, she sent me a message over the weekend and I'm going to read you this word for word. I've got my phone here. Had another great day, done things for me, communicated a few things that I normally wouldn't, felt confident in some small decisions. I will be eternally grateful to you. You have a gift. I'm so honored to have gone on this journey. And then another message she sent in relation to something else. She said, can't be any happier than that. Was really nice to be so relaxed and enjoy the moment. Like she now, her reality is she genuinely feels happy and she's putting a real smile on her face. It's not a fake one showing up like everything's okay. She actually feels good. She's making decisions confidently without the anxiety and the constant overthinking. She's, doing things for herself. She is feeling more calm, relaxed and present than ever before, like than she ever has. And honestly, like this is the power of mindset. It is so powerful. And obviously coming back to what we're speaking about today, like that's the power of shifting your thoughts and your self-talk. It doesn't just change how you think. It changes how you feel, how you show up, and the reality that you create for yourself. It has such a ripple-on effect in every area of your life. So if your self-talk is, let's say, maybe if you struggle with negative self-talk or, constant limiting thoughts that you literally can't seem to silence, this is something that I work through with my clients so that they can shift their entire reality. And if you are ready or want to find out more, DM me mindset on my socials at SK Bodyworks. Obviously, the links are in the show notes below for more details on mindset method, which is my, of course, new and evolved one-on-one coaching for deep life and mindset shifts. So I would love to hear from you. And I hope today's episode has truly, truly allowed you to understand why self-talk and your thoughts are like the most important conversation you'll ever have. Because like I said, your thoughts become your beliefs become your reality, your identity, and your identity shapes your entire reality. It is a powerful thing to, once you've implemented this, the how it can change your reality. I'm losing all my words because I'm so passionate about this, but when you do this work, you will change your entire life. I am saying that with so much heart because I've done it for myself over the years. Mindset is the biggest thing that got me stuck. And even when I was in it, I didn't even fucking realize it. It held me back. It was the very thing that held me back. And you always think when you're in that situation, oh, I've just got to do this, I've got to do that. It's all of the answers are outside of you. No, we need to shift, put the mirror up. Our internal world reflects our external world. If you believe that you're not confident enough, again, you're going to see that in your external reality. You're going to have evidence in every area of your life that you're not confident. If you believe that you don't have enough money, then you're going to see that in your whole entire external reality. You're literally going to have people, situations, places, events, experiences that reflect that back to you. If you believe that you're not consistent, we use that example a lot today, but if you believe that you're not consistent, you are going to have that. The mirror is going to be up and you are going to see that everywhere in your external reality. So when you shift your mindset, you change your entire life. And I'm saying that, like I said, with so much heart and so much compassion. I literally feel like I'm getting emotional and teary and excited and fired up here because it is so transformational. You can literally transform your life from the inside out when you love yourself enough to do the work, because the work isn't always easy, but you know what? Staying the same is fucking hard. So it's would you rather stay the same or go through that short-term discomfort of changing to the outcome and your reality to be a better result? Pick your heart, right? So that's enough for me. Otherwise I could be here for another hour talking. So I wanted to thank you for tuning into today's episode, and I truly hope it's helped open your eyes to the power of your thoughts and self-talk and how shifting them can literally change everything. And if you're that person at the beginning of today's episode that was like, I don't need to change my self-talk, my thoughts, and this has opened your awareness, I would love for you to DM me your biggest takeaway from today. I would love to hear what landed for you. So make sure you send me a DM on socials. And as always, if you loved this episode, please follow the podcast, share it with a friend who needs to hear this. Maybe you know someone who is often quite like, what's that saying? Debbie Downer. Maybe you know a Debbie Downer. And I don't say that in a negative way. I say this to send this episode to them so that they can shift their life and they can shift how they feel internally to shift their external reality, to change their life ultimately. So if you know someone who struggles with self-talk, limiting thoughts, all of those things, send this episode to them so that they can use this process, the 5-step method that I gave you today, to literally change your life. Because happiness is an inside job. It does not come from anything external to you. So, quit the story of, when I get this, when I have that, when I buy this, when I have this, or whatever it might be, insert narrative, then I'll be happy. No, you take you with you. When you get there, you are still the same person as you were internally. So you're still going to be the same person. You're going to feel the same. So you're still going to feel the way you do now. And if that's unhappy, you're still going to feel unhappy then. So when you can do the work and love yourself enough to give yourself the opportunity to change, that's when things will shift, because you have no idea how good it can get. Like, there is literally a future version of yourself out there counting on you and waiting for you to show up as the version of you who already has that reality. And that, like, being her is how you become her. And, even thinking of it like your highest self, the highest version of you, what would she do when she doesn't feel confident? Would she feed that thought and find all of the other reasons why she's not feeling confident? Or would she go through the reframe process that I gave you today, the simple 5-step method that I gave you today, to rewire that and do things that her next level version would do? Because that is how you become her. And there is so much possibility. Like, the sky is truly the limit. You can literally dream into existence, girlfriend. So I hope today's episode allows you to open that possibility up for you and give you that new perception. And yes, like I said, DM me your biggest takeaway on socials. I want to hear what it is. And that is all from me. So until next time, beautiful souls, I am sending you so much love and so much gratitude. I'll chat to you in the next episode. Bye for now.